She gave everything to the stage, her voice, her youth, her soul. But Judy Garland's final performance wasn't a comeback. It was a farewell wrapped in desperation, whispered through broken notes and forced smiles. The world saw a legend, but underneath the sequins was a woman held together by habit and heartbreak. In this episode, we uncover the truth behind Judy Garland's last time on stage. The exhaustion, the whispers backstage, the moment the spotlight dimmed for good. It wasn't just the end of a performance, it was the end of an era. And what happened that night will stay with you long after the curtains close. From The Wizard of Oz to Carnegie Hall, Judy Garland wasn't just a star, she was a force of nature. Her voice could lift an audience or break their hearts. But that voice came at a cost. She was pushed into fame as a child, overworked, over-medicated, and never given the chance to grow up normally. Every performance was magic, but also a battle. By her 40s, she had lived a dozen lifetimes, and as her health declined, her voice, once golden, grew fragile. But still, she kept performing, because that's all she'd ever known. Even when she had nothing left, she gave what she had. By the late 1960s, Judy Garland's career was in a tailspin. She was battling addiction, financial ruin, and an industry that had long turned its back on her. Once a box office powerhouse, she was now seen as unreliable. Canceled shows, late appearances, and slurred performances had become tabloid fodder. But she kept singing. Every gig was a chance at redemption, and every one might be her last. She wasn't chasing stardom anymore. She was chasing survival. And as desperate promoters booked her for a controversial run of shows in London, she agreed. Because even Judy Garland needed to believe she had one more song left. In early 1969, Judy signed a 5-week residency at the Talk of the Town nightclub in London. The venue was elegant, but the deal wasn't glamorous. Promoters saw her as a fading star who might draw crowds out of curiosity. She was promised a dressing room and backup band, but given very little support. Friends begged her not to do it. She was too fragile, but Judy was determined. She needed the money and the validation. "If I can get through these shows," she said, "maybe I'll prove I'm still Judy Garland." That hope carried her into one final spotlight. But even she couldn't hold it forever. From the beginning, rehearsals were a disaster. Judy missed cues, forgot lyrics, and showed up late. Sometimes she was radiant, sometimes incoherent. Her voice, still haunting, was now frayed and unreliable. Musicians quietly adjusted to her timing, ready to follow her lead if she stumbled. The band, seasoned but wary, knew they were working with a legend and a woman on the edge. Promoters whispered about canceling the run, but Judy insisted on going forward. "They came to see me," she told one pianist. "I'll give them what I've got left." The cracks were showing, but she still believed she could pull off a miracle. On opening night, June 25, 1969, fans packed the Talk of the Town in anticipation. Garland entered in a white gown, smiling but visibly frail. The applause was thunderous. But when she began to sing, it was clear. This wasn't the Judy of old. Her voice cracked. She missed notes. Her timing slipped. Some songs were beautiful, others painful to witness. The crowd gave her standing ovations, but they were applause mixed with sympathy. Garland made it through the show, but barely. Backstage, she collapsed into a chair, exhausted. Her eyes filled with tears. "Was it all right?" she asked. Everyone said yes, but everyone knew the truth. The British press didn't hold back. Headlines called the performance a tragedy in slow motion. Critics described her as a ghost of herself, mumbling lyrics and stumbling through numbers. One review cruelly noted, Garland was not so much singing as surviving. These write-ups crushed her. She had poured everything into that performance, but the critics didn't see bravery. They saw decay. Friends said she read the reviews in silence, then tore them to pieces. But deep down, she knew they weren't wrong. That first night was her cry for help dressed up as a comeback, and the world responded with cold detachment. As the residency continued, Judy's condition worsened. Some nights, she sang with raw beauty and stunned the audience into tears. Other nights, she barely made it on stage. Her weight dropped dangerously. Her voice became more fragile. The pressure to show up, to deliver something worthy, was breaking her. On one particularly rough night, she was booed by a few patrons. That hurt more than any review. She turned to the band and whispered, "I don't think I can do this anymore." But she kept trying, because performing was all she had left. Each show wasn't a performance. It was survival in real time. Judy Garland's final stage performance took place on June 29, 1969, just 5 days before her death. The audience was small, the energy dim. She wore a tired smile, her once glamorous gowns now loose on her frail frame. She sang a handful of songs, ending with "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." The notes were shaky, but her emotion was unmissable. When she finished, the room fell silent, then erupted into applause. She bowed quietly, and just like that, she walked off stage for the last time. No fanfare, no encore, just a quiet, painful goodbye from a woman who had nothing left to give. After that final show, Judy disappeared from public view. She retreated to her London apartment with her fifth husband, Mickey Deans. Friends say she was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. She slept most of the day, spoke little, and seemed detached. But she wasn't bitter. "Maybe it's time to rest," she reportedly said. In those final days, there were no goodbyes, no final statements, just quiet, a kind of surrender. Garland wasn't preparing for death, but she seemed ready for the noise to stop. After a life of constant applause, endless headlines, and relentless pressure, she finally let herself go quiet. On June 22, 1969, Judy Garland was found dead in her London bathroom. The cause? An accidental overdose of barbiturates. She was only 47. The world was shocked, but not surprised. Headlines called it the final tragedy of Judy Garland. Fans flooded the streets outside her funeral. Celebrities paid tribute to her brilliance, her bravery, her battles. But many also felt guilt. Hollywood had chewed her up. Audiences had demanded too much. And now, the woman who gave everything was gone. Her death wasn't just a loss. It was a mirror reflecting how fame can destroy those it claims to love. One of the few surviving audio tapes from Judy's Talk of the Town performances captured her final "Over the Rainbow." The recording is raw. Voice falters. There are long pauses. But it's haunting. You can hear the years in her breath, the sorrow in every note. She sings not with power, but with truth. That tape circulated quietly for years, shared among collectors and historians. When it finally surfaced publicly, it brought people to tears. Because in that recording, you don't just hear a song. You hear a woman saying goodbye in the only way she knew how, through music. Judy Garland's final performance wasn't perfect, but it was unforgettable. Because in that moment, she showed what made her legendary. Not just talent, but courage. She stood in front of strangers, broken and bruised, and gave them everything she had left. That's not failure. That's grace. That's strength. Garland's legacy isn't just in the notes she sang, but in the resilience behind them. She taught us that even the most brilliant lights can flicker before they fade. But the glow, the memory, that never goes away. Judy wasn't just a star. She was the sky. Judy Garland's final performance wasn't a fall. It was a fight. A woman standing in the wreckage of fame, still singing, still reaching for that rainbow. If this story touched you, share it. Like, comment, and subscribe to Silver Screen Secrets, where the truth behind the legend still matters. Because some voices deserve to be heard, especially when the world tried to silence them.